घटा घेर घेर बरसे बदरियाना.
It was many years ago. I was in the Andaman Islands, in the middle of the Bay of Bengal, in a small little island called Ross Island. And as we were standing, and just a few of us at the island, gazing out into the sea, so far away I could see a black line right from the sky going right up to the sea, advancing towards us. And in 5 minutes came the strongest thunder shower I've ever seen in my life. And it just came and smashed into that little island, came all the way from Bay of Bengal. And at that moment I realized why rains, and monsoon particularly, is the greatest time to be in India, to discover India, to see India. So many places, whether it is Kerala, whether it is the Andamans, whether it's the whole Indo-Gangetic plain, rain brings out unique characteristics of this land. And the best time, I think, to discover India is during the rains. And today, I have with me somebody who epitomizes the rains of India for a whole generation. She sang this wonderful song, Ab Ke Sawan. It is Shubha Mudgal, of course.
घटा सावन की झड़ी बरखा की टूट के यूं बरसे. अब के सावन ऐसे बरसे बह जाए रंग मेरी चुनर से. भीगे तन मन जिया न तरसे जम के बरसे जरा.
Wonderful. And it's got that energy of
Yes.
the rain.
There are other songs which are about the festival of Tej, which happens during the monsoon. And they describe in great detail the tradition of women sitting on rope swings, which we saw and actually enjoyed when we grew up in Allahabad. And so it goes something like this. धीरे धीरे झुलाओ सुकुमारी सिया हो. सुकुमारी, delicate. धीरे धीरे झुलाओ सुकुमारी सिया हो. सुकुमारी सिया हो. सुकुमारी सिया हो. धीरे धीरे झुलाओ सुकुमारी सिया हो.
So, for many of us, there is this, magical place that we have in India somewhere. For me personally, that place has always been Lakshadweep, an incredibly enchanting place right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Do you have such a place? A place that's in your imagination, that's in your thoughts, that you want to share with everybody because it is magical for you?
Yes, actually, my mother is from Uttarakhand.
Okay.
And so when my parents retired from work, they wanted to live in the hills. And they bought this house in between two lakes. That's my haven. And so one of my dream projects, for example, is that there's beautiful temples in Jageshwar. And I don't want an audience. I feel, why doesn't the tourism department make films of musicians performing there? You don't need to record it during an event, because recordings made during an event are really huge. And with the kind of technology available today, I think without disturbing anything, you can really get a magnificent recording in a space which gives you many, many ideas musically.
I mean, after all, if you make a film like that, at the end of the day, a lot of people want to experience that thing, which is the music happening at the temple. So how can we make that happen also, that many Indians get to experience the magical?
One of the projects that I did was just, it remains etched in my memory forever. I met this lady at an airport, at Bhopal airport. And she says to me that, this year is the Khajuraho millennium. You guys should think of something to do.
Okay.
So let's ask ASI to give us permission to record 4 great masters in 4 of the temples at Khajuraho.
Right.
But not outside, in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Wow, okay.
And so it was a huge task. And of course, the permissions were very difficult to get. But fortunately, at that point, there was a music-loving director. And we finally got permission to record only at one temple.
Okay.
And when they opened this, the usual jangla, the sort of iron gate, so the security guard there said, who are you people? Because 30 years ago, this door was open when the president came. how come you guys are here? And I can't tell you what a sense of excitement and history, and it was a profoundly magical moment. For me, it was possibly one of the biggest moments in my life. Unfortunately, neither did the recording ever get really publicized. I thought that was a Grammy winning.
And
Or
what a
yeah,
setting, what an
yes,
occasion actually.
yes. But I guess there are so many cogs in the wheel that must all function together.
So we'll talk about Allahabad. So it's a place that's obviously extremely dear to you.
Yeah,
And it's a place that in many ways signifies the birth of the nation
Yeah.
in many ways, right?
yeah,
It also represents something so much more ancient
Yeah.
as the Sangam and so on. But it's fallen off the map. In some ways, I find that the youngsters of today, Allahabad is not part of their of the places that they think
Want to
about, in
travel
India.
to.
travel to,
Yeah,
think about,
see.
and so on.
yeah.
So the question is in two parts. Why do you think that happened? And two, what do you think needs to be done?
There were certain things which we grew up believing, when we were in Allahabad.
For example?
For example, that you have to help people who come to Allahabad. So if during Mela time, you found every bungalow, every house, every veranda actually providing a space for people who were traveling and didn't have the money. But you never denied
But
them
it's an
the
attitude,
space.
right?
Yes. And you said, okay, mele mein log aaye hain, they don't have the money. They could stay there. Or if, for example, there was ever any emergency of any kind, if there was, let's say, flooding or any accident, then you just had to help out. That was sort of ingrained in everyone. So the Mela, the religious pilgrimage, was handled by the government. What else did people come to Allahabad for? For learning. And even now, there are eminent poets and literary figures living there and working there. In Arvind Krishna Mehrotra is one of the biggest poets that we know, and his association with Allahabad is very well known. I think it's important to remind people of those. So when you have events in Allahabad, I don't think events are centered around literary figures or cultural figures from Allahabad. Or if they are, they're done in a very, very myopic way, with never any really, great planning. But I think, making spaces where people would want to come and stay, not just for a holiday, but perhaps this is a place where a lot of great literary figures and thinkers were living for many years or were born there. Perhaps if I wanted to write a book and I wanted to go to Allahabad, maybe residencies in special spaces, which
Actually,
could,
that's very interesting, because residencies is something that even Anita Nair, the
Yes,
author,
the author.
she was talking to me about. And I was asking her, and she said, you know what, we don't seem to have residencies, even for travelers, writers from outside.
Yes.
Give them 6 months, let them go to any part of India.
Exactly.
And let them write anything at the end of it, but they will see India.
Yes.
As distinct from being, kind of having a superficial sort of
Yes.
sense of
Yes.
India. That's an interesting thought. So in a sense, it ties up to that idea.
And I feel these places could become very important spaces for such, how should I say, for such incubation,
That's
of
very
ideas.
interesting. So it's a completely different kind of tourism incubation you're talking about. And I've been thinking about tourism incubation, but that's more in the projects
Yes.
kind of space. But this is very, very interesting. I just want to pick up the ideas around other countries, right? Wherever
Yes.
you've been to, and you mentioned Australia and the UK. Now, many of these countries have a culture of music festivals,
Yes.
right? So music festivals is big. Now, in our context, music festivals are not really big. They're certainly not a big part of the tourism calendar.
Summer in the south, I think the December season is big.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Pune, the Savai Gandhar festival is very big.
Right.
And people from across the world plan their holidays to India.
Right.
But yes, you're right. Compared to other places, it's not like that.
And there is potential, I presume, across so many more genres and so
Yes.
many more, places and so on. So what?
Oh, I think that's, that's an area that's sort of just crying out for attention. One of the biggest complaints I have about tourism in India is that I can never find out which festival is going to be programmed at what time, what is the schedule, and who are the artists, featured artists this year.
Right.
Why then would I plan my holiday to
Right.
go see, let's say, the Khajuraho Dance Festival,
Right.
which is again one of the festivals which really has a reputation. And who wouldn't want to go to see these beautiful temples and also watch
Exactly.
eminent dancers performing there? Many, many years ago, I remember now, when I was in college, my mother took me to Khajuraho with one of my friends who is now teaching literature at Allahabad University. And we went to this Khajuraho Dance Festival. I think it was the first year that it had
Oh,
started.
okay. So that must be pretty old, yeah.
And we saw Sanjukta Panigrahi dance Odissi there. And we were stunned. So we were so starstruck that we decided to follow her after she got off stage. And we went to meet her in her hotel room, like true, groupies and fans. And my friend Smita Agarwal, who is now a professor teaching at Allahabad University, she's written a poem on that moment when the door was flung open and these two mousy little girls were standing there in front of her. But what I'm trying to tell you is that in both our minds, we're two very different people. And yet in both our minds, that festival, that vision of seeing Sanjukta ji emerge from the temples and start dancing, I mean, that is deeply etched in our minds and in our work as well. So I think if we could create the festival, which we have done, the government has done that, why can it not program and put up the schedule a year in advance?
Right. Interesting point. So what is already there needs a lot more organizing, thinking.
And publicity.
And publicity, of course.
You were talking about travel, and I'd like to, because I might forget, so I want to mention this. I think India has become so travel friendly in terms of buying travel and customizing it in the way that you want to. Having said that, yes, but they're still not musician friendly, and so we still get.
In what way? In what way?
Nobody insures our instruments.
Okay.
Nobody gives us, like Virgin in Australia allows all instruments free of excess baggage penalty.
Oh, is that?
You walk in with an instrument, you will not be charged.
Amazing. That's interesting.
But we are hauled out of the line and said, "Ye kya hai? Sitar hai, tabla hai, okay, pay excess baggage." So I think we need to.
Well, that's a very interesting thought. Something to be picked up. And no wonder Virgin does some of these things so nice. And it's a small thought, but it's a very powerful thought.
I think it's a lovely thought.
It's a lovely thought. It's a very, very beautiful thought.
घटा घेर घेर बरसे बदरियाना, घटा घेर घेर बरसे बदरियाना, घटा घेर घन घोर, घटा घेर घन घोर, बिजुरी चमके चारों ओर, पानी बरसे उड़ सावन की फुहरियाना, पानी बरसे उड़ सावन की फुहरियाना.